Right, so installing a WordPress manually to a cPanel site that we don't have the domain name for consists of two steps. The first step we need to do is to create a MySQL database. The second step is then to upload and install the WordPress. So what we're going to do now is create a new database and also a database user, and then join them together so that we can then install manually either a WordPress site or a Joomla site, but the process of setting up the database is the same. So I'm in the control panel of an account I've just created. So I go down here to MySQL databases. Let's click on that. And I'm going to create a new database. So I'm just going to call this dev. Let's call them dev. You can also create one and call yours dev as well. It doesn't really matter. So let's create database. Terrific. That's done. Go back. Now we've got to go down to the bottom here and create a new user. We're going to call the user dev as well. And it wants a password. So let's go into Zoho and find the password for cPanel. I'm going to use the password for cPanel that we've used for cPanel. I'm also going to use it for this database because I know it's strong. So create user, don't need to update that. So that's done, and lastly we go back and you can see down the bottom here we need to add user to database. So that's our user database, that's our database, and we want to add these two together so that this user can use this database. So click add, click all privileges and make changes. And that's been done. It's as simple as that. Okay, so we are going to install WordPress onto a cPanel site, so a site that we don't have the domain name for yet. I'm here in this one here, advancedclearing.com.au. We don't have the domain name for that yet, but I've already set it up on cPanel. So here I am. I'm going to go into File Manager and into the public HTML, and it's going to be a new WordPress installation, so we want to install that into the dev folder. Now ordinarily if we were using the automatic WordPress update system we wouldn't need to create a folder, but doing it manually this way we do. So I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to call it dev, simply dev. Create new folder, there it is there. I'm going to go inside that folder, double click on it, and now I need to upload the WordPress file, the zip file. So let's go into downloads, find the WordPress folder, WordPress is there. And you can see that there's our WordPress package. So let's click on open, let that do its thing. Very good. Okay, we can close this little pane now. Go back to here and reload that, and you'll see that there's our package. So I'm going to click on that and extract it into the dev folder. Yes, extract everything, and that basically will unpack everything into a folder called WordPress. There's nothing we can do about that. Now we don't want everything in the folder called WordPress. So what we're going to do is double click on that, and then we're going to just select the first one, scroll right down to the end, hold down Shift and click. That's selected everything. Now what I can do is just drag everything there into the dev folder. So now public HTML has got a dev folder. When we go into the dev folder, there it is. it was in this folder called WordPress. So if we go back into that WordPress now, it's empty. So let's go back to there, click on that and delete that empty WordPress folder. So now our site is in dev. So what we're going to do now is actually go into the site using the cpanel, http the number there / squiggly line. Oops. What's the name of this account? It is Advanced Clearing. That's it. Let's just go straight in there and see what's. And the reason we're seeing this is because I've gone to the cpanel address, but I've not added dev at the end, because remember we installed it into the dev folder. So let's go dev. Now we've got the installation thing happening. So English United States, that's what we want as the language. Let's just follow this along now. Now the database name, it's asking for name, username, password, the host, the table free prefix, we'll sort that out when we get there. So let's go. Database name we know is advanced _dev. The username is the same, and if we've forgotten what that username and database name is, we can actually go back here. We can go into MySQL databases and we can see here's our database that we created, and the user was the same thing. There we are down the bottom, user and database. So let's go back in there, advanced dev. We know the password we used was the cpanel password, so let's use that. Paste that in there. The database host, we're going to leave that as localhost, and the table prefix, we'll leave that as it is there, WP. Run the installation, click that. Okay, start adding some details. So the site title is this particular one is going to be Advanced Clearing. It'll actually be Advanced Clearing and Excavation. The full name of their site. You will put in whatever website, whatever the website name is. The username we're going to use is the usual, Jeff and TixieLix2250. Good. Email address is going to be Jeff, website guy. We don't want to tick that. Discourage search engines from indexing the site. We don't want that. Absolutely not. Install WordPress. We don't need to save that, just on here. WordPress has been installed. So let's log in. Jeff, TixieLix2250. Remember me, yes. We can save this because we'll be logging in frequently, so let's save that. And there's our WordPress dashboard. So if we just copy that address and let's go to another site, there's our site. We've just installed WordPress manually. Simple as that.